they were supposed to file prevailing wage for me, like to USCIS, and start doing my labor market test. Then, like in January, all the tech in the tech field, there were like so many layoffs. I had like constant conversation going on with my manager that what are my options if I can get transferred to India or like Canada or other countries.
Let's do a quick intro before we get started because people might have not watched our previous podcast. So, like, what do you do? Where are you from? And like fun stuff.
And last time when we spoke, I was at working at Amazon. Now I am working at Microsoft right now in Microsoft Teams as a iOS development engineer here. And it's been
Ooh,
1.5 years since I have been working at Microsoft, enjoying my work here. And I'm from Bikaner, Rajasthan, India. Currently staying in Boston and with my wife, and
nice.
it's been a good time here. Yes.
Yeah, Akshay and I have done a podcast. I'll put the link in the description where he talks about how he got into Amazon as an iOS. Was it iOS, right?
Yes.
iOS engineer, yeah.
iOS engineer. Yeah.
And we'll make another podcast on talking about how you got into Microsoft. But this video
Yeah.
is not about that. So this video is about your green card, which came surprisingly, very faster in
Yeah.
terms of like normal journey. So you were in Amazon, you switched from Amazon to Microsoft. Now, what happened like in Microsoft? Like, how did you? Did they? You were on obviously on H-1B visa. You are
Yes.
still on H-1B, but how did the green card conversation started? Like, what happened there?
So what happened was like companies like Microsoft, Amazon, they do day one green card for you. And since I switched Microsoft last year, it was July 2022, and they started my process. Like since it is a big organization, they take their time, like in doing all the processes, like preparing your documents. They started collecting my documents, and they almost prepared all the file for me like by November 2022. And since then everything was looking fine. I thought like it will be very smooth ride. And for me, like time was very crucial because I had only like till March 2025. Like 2023 is already gone, and so I had like almost like only 2 years to like get everything done. So I was kind of like
Because you are in your H-1B extension, which is
yes,
another 3 years, and that was
yeah,
expiring 2025.
yes,
And as soon as you joined Microsoft on day one, they were like, "Hey, we want to file green card for you." Is this
yeah,
normal for all the employees?
yeah. They do it for most of the full-time employees. I for contract they don't do it, I think so. I'm not
But
sure
not
about
like
that.
fresh graduates, or is it for even for fresh graduates?
They do it for most of the employees depending on like in which category you come in. Initially they start with your H1B and they try to go for green card like once they see that you have like limited amount of
Oh,
time
gotcha,
left.
gotcha. Okay. Because you already had H-1B, they are like, all right,
Yes.
let's fast forward day one.
Yeah.
As soon as you join, they started your green card
Yes.
process. Okay.
Like if you're a
And
fresh graduate, they will start with your H1B first because
right,
you have to stay some time in US on H1B before they start filing your green card.
right. Yeah. Okay. So everything, your docs were ready. They were starting to apply for. This is not even I-140 or any of the stage. This is just the first stage
First
where
step.
they do the wage and like the
Yes.
qualification of all that stuff. Like, hey,
Yes.
we really need this person and post the job and all of that.
Yes.
So what happened from there?
So it was the initial stage. They said like my file is ready. They were supposed to file prevailing wage for me like to USCIS and start doing my labor market test. Then like in January, all the tech in the tech field there were like so many layoffs. And so they reached out, they emailed me that due to all these layoffs, they cannot continue my green card process at the moment. They have to put a pause on it because like it was very contradicting. Like at one side they are firing the people, and at one side they are saying we need this person, we don't have any other person
Mm,
for this
mm.
role. So
Yeah,
I was like
and I think we should explain just for context for people might not No, I know it because I was a manager and I've done green card for my team members, so I kind of understand the process. So for people who don't know, when the green card process starts, there's a lot of documentation. After that, there's two stages happens, which is prevailing wage. Before we move on to the next exciting part of the video, I just want to quickly mention about my newsletter community. We have more than 8,000 people who is receiving weekly free newsletter where we combine all the information which you're watching in this video into text format, which is easily digestible. It's a free, no cost to you. Also, we send out resources like product management guide, data analyst guide, job openings, and other resources which we have going on. So if you're interested in receiving such informative newsletter straight to your inbox, consider subscribing. You can simply go to udj.com/newsletter, or you can even go to the link in the description and it'll take you to the same page. And now I'll let you enjoy the next part of the video. And labor market test, which
Yes.
you mentioned. The labor market test is saying that, hey, we're gonna open a position in Microsoft, and anybody can apply to that position. But what we are gonna tell to the government is like, we couldn't find anybody but Akshay. He's the best
Yes.
fit, and that's why we want to file a green card for him. So that's one. And the second one is the prevailing wage, which is pretty much like H1B stuff, right?
Yes.
So
It's
it's
just to verify the income that I am earning above the average salary for my position, which makes
yeah,
me a suitable candidate for the green card.
right.
So it is like that.
Yeah.
And
So
it was tough for me because like Microsoft is a big company, so they get like thousands of applications just for one role.
right,
So that makes it
exactly.
much more tougher in that
Yeah.
case.
So for for in your stage, this was November 2022. January came, 2023. Microsoft announced layoffs and they laid off people.
Yeah.
And now it becomes contradictory that, hey, on one hand you are laying off people, but another hand you have a open position saying that,
Yeah.
hey, we're doing, we want to hire more people.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So at that point of time they are like, hey, we gotta pause this, or we gonna stop this for now, and then once the market conditions are back, we'll consider doing this. So
Yeah.
then what happened from there to actually getting green card?
Yeah, so that was like a kind of like a setback for me. I was taken aback by that. And also, like, my team had the layoff in my team itself, like, a person got laid off. So that was another
Mm.
thing that was like mentally affecting. And by every day, I was like thinking, if I don't
Am I
get
gonna be
this
the
thing,
next?
yeah.
Yeah.
And also, it was scary that if I'm not going to get my green card resume, how will I going to continue? I had like constant conversation going on with my manager
Mm.
that
Mm.
what are my options if I can get transferred to India or like Canada or other countries,
Wow.
because like if my H1B expires, what are my options? Because you have to
And
leave US at all in that
yeah.
situation.
And again, for context, for people to understand, so he has the visa until 2025. The reason he's nervous is because this process, the prevailing wage and the labor market test, is roughly year and a half, would you
Yes,
say?
almost.
Yeah.
Yes, almost.
Yeah.
Year,
Yeah.
year
So
and a half.
after that his I-140 is going to be filed, and once that
Yes.
is filed, then you can get H1B extension unlimited time until you
Yeah.
get your priority date and get the green card.
Yeah.
So that's why he's nervous, because it's already 2023,
Yeah.
2025. There's only 2 years, and if they're pausing right now, you don't know when they're gonna
When they're
start.
gonna start? Yeah.
And right, so okay, so just giving context for people, like, why is he nervous? Like, he has 2 years. So
Yes.
this is the reason that why
No,
he's
it's not
nervous.
easy. Like you have to start early on that. You have to, and like since the issue was like I was nervous because there was uncertainty that when they're gonna start the process or resume the process,
Yeah.
because the market was tough. Everybody was there. People were getting laid off. It was not stopping. It was like very bad, like first half of the year. So
Mm.
that was like
Mm.
more like nerve wracking on like us and in that way. Now, fast forward to July. I was having my conversation with my manager about like how we gonna do it, like what are the steps, how early we can plan, like if they want to move me to Canada, because my manager told me like what Microsoft do is like if your H1B expires, they move you to Canada for like they transfer you there, and you can work from there, and then probably they will bring you back on L1 visa or whatnot. Like that is like too much away from the conversation. But let's go back to the story. Fast forward to July. I got reached out by immigration team from Microsoft. Like they had a lawyer firm they working with. They reached me out and asked me that if I'm interested in pursuing for NIW EB2 category. I was not
Mm.
aware what it was. I thought like why I am gotten reached out, and read out all the requirements for it. I was like, I don't think I'm eligible because as a software engineer, I think my work is limited to like software field or all that kind of thing. But when I talked to my wife, she's told like you should try it out, at least see if you're eligible or not, like because the requirements are very high for
Mm.
NIW. Like you
Mm.
have to have advanced degree, or you have to, and like there are like six different
I mean, you have master's degree, so that is
yes.
an advanced degree. But yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So there were like six requirements on give it. I think it's given on USCIS website as well. You can easily find those requirements. You need like 10 plus years of experience in your field, and like you have to prove that your wage is higher than the average wage in the United States for your role, and all those. There are like 6 to 7 requirements. You have to qualify for at least three of them.
Yeah. And just taking a step back for
Yeah.
again, because I think you and I are in this world, so we probably understand. I'm assuming there are people who are just graduating, or maybe they are a student and they don't
Yeah.
understand all this world. So um, when your employer applies for green card, there is a it's not a green card.
Yeah.
There are different types of visa: EB1A, EB12, EB1 EB1A, EB2, EB3. So these are different categories,
Categories.
and which category he is getting selected for is EB2, national interest waiver. So
Yes.
this visa category or green card category is saying that, hey, this person is helping United States, and he's doing something good for United States, and because of that, because he has interest in doing something for nation,
Yeah.
he falls under this category NIW, which basically removes this process of labor
Prevailing
market
wage
tests
and labor market test.
and prevailing wage. But it is very, 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 very hard to convince that you are eligible for this. So I
Yes.
just want to call that out. And two, yeah, it's also not as simple like, okay, you've passed through this, then you get it approved. Then, like he mentioned, Akshay, like you mentioned, there are 7 to 8 different criterias, and out of that you have to at least have 3 criterias, and then you have to prove and provide evidence, and then it goes forward. Okay,
Yeah.
now explain what happened.
So like they reached out to me. I was like skeptical that even I qualify for it or not, because like first thing I saw 10 years of experience, and I was like, I don't think I have 10 years of experience. I have like 7 plus years of experience. Then my wife convinced me that you have advanced degree. So for that you qualify, and you are part of like different associations like Apple developer programs, Stack Overflow, and
Mm.
so that was also like one of the categories that I qualified for. So she suggested me to go for it, and that's why I went for it, and I started conversing to my immigration team. They sent me a whole big questionnaire to fill out to see if I'm eligible or not. Based on the questionnaire, they judge you and see if your profile is good enough to, because this process is not easy. They USCIS is very like not easily convinced. They will scrutinize your application on in this a lot, because it is very highly like if you go on the USCIS website, you will see in EB2 there are two categories like itself. One is ordinary EB2 and one is exceptional. So NIW is the exceptional one, where you say that this person is very exceptional and we need it because this person
Yeah.
serves in national interest waiver.
Yeah, and I just pulled it up
Yeah.
because I knew that you were gonna start talking about it. So I was like, all right. So again, you can see the different categories on this left. EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, EB5. EB5
Yeah.
is the investment program.
Investment
EB1.
program.
Again, regardless, I'm like now all over the place. But
No, this is
these
helpful. These are the criteria written on the bottom, like what are the criterias are
right.
for the
So yeah.
exception one.
Right, and these are the criterias, and you can also see the waivers, right? So,
Yes.
and this is the national
National
interest
interest
waiver,
waiver.
and you can see this is yeah, factors USAIS considers for national interest waiver is the proposed endeavor both substantial merit and national importance. You are well positioned to advance the proposed endeavor, which is like his job role, and
Yeah.
on balance it would be beneficial to United States to waive off the requirements of job offer, and thus the labor certification, which is
Yes.
again the labor market
Labor
test.
market
And
test. Labor market
yeah,
test.
like hey, fill out these questions, and based on this we'll judge if you are like even worth pursuing this.
Yeah.
So, and it's extensive.
Yeah. So it took me like 2 weeks to just prepare that questionnaire and fill out that questionnaire. It took
What
like
was asked? What was
so the questions were general questions like based on the eligibility criteria. Like for instance, the one of the question was like, how do you how does your work shows that uh, you are going to be growing in your proposed endeavor, like the work you are doing, how you are supposed to grow in that. And another question I can provide you that is like how your work impact in United States favor. And
Mm,
there are like several categories you can work in, like for let's say cybersecurity, you can say that in terms of preparing cyber attacks of US companies, I help the companies build a
mm,
strong cyber defense and help
mm,
user data prevention, like getting hacked and getting ransom, all that kind of thing. So,
mm,
and there are many categories, like you can say, go for AI based. If you're a data scientist, then you can say I provide like a AI work with AI tools, machine learning, which helps companies advancing in US economy and all those things. And based on that, they analyze your profile and see if you are fit for this, because since this process is very scrutinized, there is a high very small percentage that you will get it.
mm.
Most of the cases, they have seen that you will get a RFE asking for more evidence, and you won't get a seal of approval from USCIS for this.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So then you collected this, you filled out the form. They are like, Akshay, I think we got a case. So we
Yeah.
should move forward.
Yeah.
Looks like you are eligible. Your profile seems like a good fit. So then the next step is providing the evidences. I'm
Yes.
assuming. Yeah.
Yes. So the next step was like to collect all the evidences. First form of evidence was the letter of recommendations. So you need like at least four letter of recommendations from four different persons, like who have worked with you directly. And you can, it's not necessary that they have worked with you, but they know you in some way or another. Let's say you are a electronic engineer, or like you are a cybersecurity engineer, and you met
Mm,
a lot of people. Like for electronics, there is I believe IEEE society organization, or I am not sure about that association, but it is some like that. And so you meet people over there, you work, take participate in lot of hackathons, you meet people over there as well, like
mm,
industry
mm,
peers who can you like make a connection over there and form uh, so they can also provide you the letter of recommendations, and their letter of recommendations matters a lot. But and the thing is, with those letter of recommendations, they have to very extensively, and they have to be very detailed, like at least 3 to 4 pages, telling how your work is impactful in benefit of US government, and
mm,
how you are supposed to grow in your career, what you're working on right now, and
mm,
how you gonna uh, stand above when it comes to your peers.
mm, mm. Okay. Yeah, and so that is obviously this the one which I have highlighted,
Yeah,
and then I'm assuming this one is just your master's degree.
master's degree. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
and-
also like recognition of your achievements and significant contributions also plays a very important role. So I had to talk to my employer in India because I received an award from them. So my
Mm,
immigration team asked me to get a letter of recognition from them, that why they gave me that award, what was the selection criteria for it, and uh, how many people were selected for it, and why I got the award for it. So it has to be very detailed, and uh, any employer even from India also can provide this, and it can go with your application, it will make your application strong.
mm, mm.
And other was like the salary remuneration. You
Is
can
this
find
something which you did? I think you might have done this, the Apple developer.
developer program, yeah. And like for electronics engineers, cybersecurity engineers, there are like many organizations, they, like for instance, I think cybersecurity, there are like certification organization. For like say your project management, you have PMI, you can show that you are a part of
Mm.
PMI
Yeah,
organization.
yeah, or
uh,
Scrum Alliance as well. Like
Scrum Alliance as
if they
well,
are
yes.
Scrum Master, but yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
got it.
So these type of organizations and peers from those organizations can provide you letter of recommendation as well for that,
Mm,
and that
mm,
weight puts a lot of weight on your application. So
yeah.
like collecting all those letter of recommendations, I had to like do a lot of back and forth with my immigration team, because they wanted to have those letter of recommendations in a certain format, and in a certain like a professional language. They had like a, they wanted it to be perfect, because the application is very tough to get through in NIW case.
Mm,
And
mm.
I prepared letter of recommendation, then was getting employment verification letters as well, that I have worked in these companies. It's good to have those letter of recommendations on letterhead. If not, it's not a big deal, but it would be preferred if you can get it on letterhead.
Right. So, okay. So in this case, you collected the documents, you went through the whole hard work, and then you gave it everything to them. They filed it,
Yes.
and what happened then?
So they filed it in, so it, the whole process, it took me like 2 months, 2 to 3 months. Like they
Mm,
started in July, August, and like they filed it in early September.
mm,
And since I Microsoft was filing, they filed for me in premium processing. So I got the result like within 10 days, like they approved my application, because since my case was strong, based on the background and the experience that I showed. And yeah, I got approval in the premium as soon as possible. But
mm,
depending on your company and your immigration team, you have to talk to them if they're gonna file it in premium or not. It can take longer than that. It's not necessary that it might come in 10 days for you as well. So
mm,
you have to be prepared for that timeline as well, because it takes like 6 to 8 months, and 9 months, even 9 months as well, depending on the case, and when you are filing as well.
yeah. And the thing we didn't touch on is you are a development engineer, or like a
Yeah.
software engineer, and like assuming just like you, there are many people are software engineer. And how did you got eligible for US, that you are doing something for US or like a United States? I'm assuming that's the case which immigration team made it, that hey, because of his work, specifically what he does in his role, is applicable to United States.
So that was something I had to prepare myself. They, when they first sent me the questionnaire, they asked me all those questions, like how my work impacts in US benefit. Like in, they gave me like categories, like it can be cybersecurity, it can be AI, it can be US health, and it can be US economy. There are many categories you can go for. My was software engineering. It's very hard to find that your work might impact other areas apart from AI, cybersecurity, or data related. But It is something you have to work with your immigration team and yourself, like how you want to present, because the main thing is showing the impact of your work. It's all about
Mm,
like how your work impacted all these field.
mm,
So let me give you my example. Like I was working for a company which works in secure messaging, right? And I showed it that I was working for that company on messaging platform. That company had government contracts, so my work was impacting U.S. government directly by providing them services
mm,
to having the secure communication with the end-to-end encryption, and their data was secure. So that was a very impactful thing that I am doing for
mm.
US government.
Nice,
So
nice,
that,
nicely done. We should definitely. I mean, I'm assuming you've already done it, but you should thank your wife for
yes,
pushing you because I know you were skeptical, but yeah, like, there's no, I don't know how I'm eligible, but your wife is like, no, you are. You're like,
yes,
just do it, like, go for it. And so I'm glad she did. And also for people who don't know, as soon as you got your decision back, you were
yes,
kind enough. You messaged me like, Yuri, this happened with me and I want to share this with your community. And so thank you again. We should all comment Akshay, you rock, in the comment section because the goal is to help people spread awareness that these are things available, and maybe you might not be thinking about it, but this is a
yeah.
chance for you to think about it. Cool. So you received the decision. Oh, and now I'm assuming is a what so what how does the priority date like your again, is that the priority date happens for you as well?
So the priority date will go similar to EB2 category. There is
Right.
no
Okay, got it.
change in that. It's
The
just
only
that
fast forward process is like
fast
10
forward.
days. And
Yes,
one, you don't have to wait for labor market and
yes,
prevailing wage,
prevailing
which
wage.
cuts
Yes,
off like about 18 months, which is a
yes,
lot. And
yes,
then premium processing 10 days, your I-140 is now there, and you have a priority date. And because of that, you like, obviously your spouse can get H4 EAD,
H4EAD as well.
which
Yes,
is a big thing. So but that's awesome, man.
yes,
Congratulations.
yes. And the thing is, like, it's not easy for non-immigrants like us who are on H1B and
Mm,
student visa to like get these opportunities.
yeah.
So, like, I just wanted to help out like any people who can get help from this and get their uh, like any way like fast forwarded their process and inspire them and tell them that yes, their work is making an impact in some way or another way, so they are eligible for it.
Before we sign off, any advice for all these people who are on H1B? What, like, maybe they might think that, I don't think I'm eligible. Maybe like they think that you're just lucky and you figure it out, but I don't think I'm that. And I the reason I'm asking this is because you probably felt the same way, that
Yeah,
there's no way I'm eligible to.
yeah.
So what advice would you give them?
So my wife said like it's not that you're not eligible. You have worked hard. You have so much of experience. You just have to show that the impact of your work is like really there, and you have to figure out that yourself. Like it's just the same thing that in your resume when you write present yourself out, you write that impact bullet that you have impacted this much of revenue for this company. So when you talk about in your resume that you have helped a company gain this much revenue, it is directly impacting US economy. So
Mm,
now you have to talk in terms of how that revenue helped in terms
mm,
of US government.
mm.
So you can
So
say like that.
potentially, like if you're working for a startup and you are like the 10th member, and because of your architect decisions and the
Yes,
product you built, and because of that, it made $100 million in revenue.
yes,
That's a pretty good case. So
yes,
again, we are not saying that's what you should be doing. I'm not
yes,
a we are not an immigration lawyer. We're
yes,
just saying like you might have a case and you might have
yes,
not thought about it that way. So this is just an inspiration that you can take. Obviously you'll have to talk to lawyers and all of that, but
yes.
again, thank you so much, Akshay, for
Thank
doing
you.
this. I can't
Thank you,
wait to bring you
Yuri.
back and talk about how you got into Microsoft, because that's an
Yes,
interesting story too. And
yes.
if you remember, until our next one.
Keep smiling, keep hustling.
Nice, love it.